Yo, what is going on guys, XHOUNDISHx here, and today I wanted to revise my top 5 exotic primaries in PvP for year 2. So I did make a video about this very early after the release of the Taken King, but with the meta kind of evolving and after some balancing changes and various updates, I wanted to look at this again. So as always, this is just my opinion. It's not easy to categorize the top 5 exotics, you know, with everyone having different preferences and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this is what I think, and let's get into it. So firstly, it's going to be Hawkmoon, a very popular hand cannon throughout Destiny's life cycle. It was very popular in year 1 because it was highly accurate like most hand cannons, but had pretty good target acquisition, high aim assist, effectively sticking to targets as you kind of track them. But in year 2, hand cannons are far less consistent, and despite Hawkmoon recently losing much of its range and accuracy, it still performs very well if you're, you know, fairly strongly positioned and hit your shots. You can have multiple procs of luck in the chamber in one magazine through the holding aces perk, and it's possible to regularly two-shot targets. Still, it is an incredibly satisfying hand cannon to use, but it is slightly inconsistent these days, sometimes hitting shots that you wouldn't expect and then seemingly missing shots that you swear you've hit. And its effective range is also a problem for the weapon now, basically only being useful within kind of auto rifle ranges, and these sound like a lot of problems and they definitely affect the weapon, but with a skilled hand it can still be pretty damn lethal, and any future buffs to hand cannons could see a vast improvement for the Hawkmoon for most players. And we could have equally seen something like Xalo Supercell or Hardlight in this spot, but amongst the exotic auto rifles it's pretty difficult to say that, you know, Xalo is better than Suros, for example, because each of them have very strong situational benefits which may not be valuable at all times, and I think exotic auto rifles are probably better spoken about in specific comparisons to each other, otherwise it's fairly difficult to make a choice. So up next, it's going to be the Bad Juju. So this was a very popular weapon after the launch of the Taken King, and its archetype being kind of the most lethal mid to close range in the pulse rifles kind of archetypes. So of course its stats are very similar to the Hawksaw and PDX pulse rifles, but with the December update nerfing pulse rifles ever so slightly, their overall popularity has dropped a little bit at least. But however, Bad Juju is still a very competitive primary in its base stats, and also offers the benefit of bonus super energy and the String of Curses bonus, which reloads the magazine on a kill. You know, it's really useful and very solid for PvP, you know, still to this day. So it does suffer slightly against weapons like the Mida, but pretty much everything does in PvP right now at any kind of range. So Bad Juju and its archetype are still a very strong for PvP, and combined, like I said, with Bad Juju's bonuses in particular, you know, it's still an absolute top tier PvP weapon. And then in third place, it's going to be the Tlaloc, or Talok, however you want to say that. So this is the Warlock specific exotic, which offers the overflow bonus. So when you have full super energy, the weapon's handling is increased, the rate of fire and stability are also increased, and when overflow is active, it's an absolutely incredible weapon, incredibly powerful, and it just tears through targets in PvP at most ranges. Obviously it has its range limits, but overall it's very flexible, and it's absolutely one of the strongest weapons in, you know, in the game for PvP right now, when it has overflow in particular. But the weapon also has a few problems. Without overflow, it's just a 37 rate of fire scout rifle, absolutely nothing special about it at all. And also its weapon sights are not to everybody's taste, they're quite limited in some respects, but overall it is a very unique weapon and feels absolutely godly while overflow is active. As you can see in the gameplay, it just tears through targets in PvP. It just depends on the game mode you're playing and your preference. This is the kind of weapon I would use more in, say, Control than something like Trials of Osiris. And then next up, it's going to be the Last Word. So this has always been an absolute power player in PvP, and despite nerfs to hand cannons in year 2, the close range capacity of the Last Word is entirely, you know, unparalleled against other hand cannons, and it's pretty unique. So the ADS accuracy of the weapon has changed significantly from year 1, where the weapon was super effective at ranges, even, you know, where Thorn would start to drop off. Now in year 2, you know, it's an absolute beast. However, the weapon's hipfire capacity in close range is one of its main attractions to players, particularly in year 2. So running with a sniper, this weapon is fantastic at defending against, you know, shotguns or finishing weak targets and things like that. Some people love the weapon, and of course some people, you know, don't really like it all that much or don't use it, but it requires, you know, significantly more skill to be really effective in year 2, but those who are good with it become, you know, pretty lethal as always. So that is the beastly Last Word. So in at number 1, and it's going to be the Mida multi-tool. So most people will have seen this one coming, and the Mida in year 1 was recognised by, relatively small number of players compared to year 2, but with the meta of weapons in year 2 being different and favouriting those with kind of range and accuracy, the Mida was set to be fairly strong in PvP, and once pulse rifles received a nerf in the December update along with Mida's release, it was an incredibly popular weapon. So what makes the weapon so unique and dominant in PvP right now is its accuracy and the rate of fire, which is, like I said, very unique. And Mida has this fantastic kind of bounce when you fire it, and it just settles back to the head and gives it this kind of springy, agile handling. So it lands headshots very cleanly, and you can land them fairly quickly as well, which is also why Mida performs relatively well in close range compared to most other scout rifles. It's going to be one of the absolute best close range scout rifles, and the Mida doesn't feel as effective at super long ranges like, say, Call of Duty's Duty or Jade Rabbit would be, but its range capabilities are certainly some of the most flexible in the game, and it's simply a god tier PvP weapon. It'll be interesting as well to see if Bungie makes any changes to this weapon. As some people do consider it OP, I think it's quite strong, it's quite powerful, and the meta of other weapons is kind of what makes the Mida feel so strong and so flexible in PvP. But either way, it's a very good primary, certainly one of my favourites. So there we go, guys, that is my top 5 exotics. That's what I think are the best exotics currently in PvP, or those that are easy to categorise. And like I said before, there are weapons that aren't on this list that could have been on this list. Really, it's based on preference, but some of them are kind of difficult to compare against other weapons. So these are really the power players in my opinion, and my favourite exotics. So let me know down below what your favourite exotics in the game are. It'd be interesting to see that. And if you have enjoyed the video, please drop me a like. That'd be pretty damn awesome. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see a lot more Destiny content, then feel free to hit subscribe to see a lot more. But for now, you guys take it easy, and I'll catch you very soon.